28th. We are on this STEM new dormitory. I'm here with Dave Rorio from the University of Connecticut, Planning Architectural Engineering Services. Dave's going to give us a quick overview on the project that's in the middle of construction. Dave, good morning. Thanks for spending some time with us. So we're standing on the south end of the building, Dave?
Yeah, we're the south terrace entrance to the building. Basically an 8-story brand new residence hall, 225,000 square feet, 725 bed residence hall. So we're at the south terrace area, and as you can see, we're pouring new sidewalks and identifying the site area.
So Dave, this is going to be a feature section. I was looking at the plans a little bit briefly earlier. It's going to be a paver section, a spot for the students to gather where the sidewalks kind of meet, more or less, a traffic way.
Yep, this basically will help tie in the site area for the back of the Garrigus suites here. And we've created a ADA compliant walkway down from behind Sherman Field. So yes, it'll definitely link this area together.
So that's this walkway that the students are actively using now?
Correct.
So from this elevation, Dave, it's a good 30-40 feet down to the bottom, more or less?
Yes, this has definitely been a struggle for the site because the slope behind Garrigus Suites was always so steep. It really identified and made sure that we put a nice ADA compliant walkway down behind there.
What a view, though, I'll bet you, on the upper floors. So Dave, percentage-wise in construction in the end of 2015, whereabouts is the project right about now?
We're completely closed in, except for some, we call this area the knuckle. They're doing temporary heat right now. All the windows are in, roofs are on. I'd say we're 75% complete with the construction, with the completion for being done in July of 2016.
Nice. And this tower section here, is this a lounge section for each floor going up, Dave?
Right, we call this the knuckle of the building. It's basically the pivot point where the different wings take off, and each floor is going to have a lounge area, elevator lobby. That's going to be the main portal, if you'd say, to come in and out of the building.
Nice. All right, well, let's continue around. Thanks, Dave. We're continuing with our first progress report with Dave Rorio. We're up here on the roof, center portion of the building. Dave, and I was looking on the plans earlier, solar panels.
Yep, so there's going to be a complete solar array here. Structural steel is in place for it, and all the panels are in the crates here. They just won't get installed till later on.
Very nice. And then the air handling units in the north side feeds the north side.
Yep, exactly.
South side feeds the south side.
There's other units. We have a large evaporative cooler here also for the chilled water.
Yeah.
For the building.
In the center, your chiller generators also.
Generators are actually part of the Putnam Refractory project.
Yeah.
So the generator farm's next door, and the emergency feed will be brought here for emergency power.
Yeah. Yeah. So Dave, now we can look down at just what we were talking about down here. This is this center courtyard you were talking, more or less?
Yeah, you'll definitely see, you can start seeing the way the shape of it with some of the retaining walls are going to get built. Obviously right now with the amount of construction going on, it's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
But this whole area is going to have a nice courtyard, well landscaped, nice sidewalks.
So I see some radius, a little round flow in there.
Yep, there's going to be benches and areas. Nice sidewalks, paved sidewalks, and a nice landscaped area. It's hard to imagine now, but you know, the amount of construction going on.
I'm assuming that'll be pretty much one of the last things to go on.
Definitely.
This section right through here. So Dave, that what we were talking about beforehand, you could see this steel and the overhead on the canopy that we were talking about. Your green roof over there in that one section there.
Yep, that area on the north side of the building is the area called the Integrative Learning Zone. We call it the I Zone. Mm-hmm. That area is going to have a green roof on it where there's going to be vegetation, plants, grass. There's going to be another opportunity for the students to interact and use it as a learning tool. The I Zone itself is going to be pretty much a workshop.
Dave has us over here on the north side of the STEM dorm that's under construction. Dave, what a view on campus we're looking at right here.
Having a room on this side of the building would be going to be a nice view. Definitely a nice overview of of campus. Horse Barn Hill up in the distance. Obviously Gamble Pavilion right here to our right. Yeah, it's definitely a nice
So
view.
much taller than the library over there.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to be, I think, the tallest building elevation-wise, just because of the location on campus. So it's going to be definitely a great view.
Right down on the Sherman track and field. Yep. Very nice. So Dave, that's the walkway that you were telling me about a little earlier.
Right.
To
As
the
you can
south
see,
section.
that whole slope behind the Garrigus Suites. There was never really a good walkway for the students to traverse from the residence halls down into campus, so we've incorporated this slope and this walkway to allow an access in and from this area.
And that walk will continue right around, Dave, and it'll work its way over to the alumni area?
Correct. There's another walkway slated, and you might not be able to see it from here, but there's some stairs and some walkways being built as we speak.
Yeah. And Dave, we were just talking, your solar panels will be, that's the steel that's mounted over on there. The surround over the chillers in the center portion of the building. The lounge areas that come up in the center portion of the buildings.
Yeah, that area will be cladded with a metal panel instead of brick. So anything where you see the yellow Dens glass, well, it'll be a combination of, the building is a combination of brick and metal panels.
Sure, and those are ordered to fit, which usually you have to put the brick up first so that you can take the final dimensions and the factory can have them completed and then basically just installed.
Yep, and this was another example I mentioned before. We call these the eyebrows. They're they're mostly architectural, but they do serve a purpose just for the upper floors. And these will be also clad with metal.
Working temporary elevator on the outside of the building.
Yep, they're utilizing a man lift to bring materials and manpower up the elevator. Beats climbing all the stairs.
Yeah. You call in, and when the fella gets a chance, he comes to get you. Good morning, how are you? So this working elevator probably runs most of the day, pretty straight out.
All day long.
Yep.
All the way down.
Ground.
It'll be going away once they get the permanent power into the building and the permanent elevators working. They won't really keep this along too much farther.
Yep. Pretty classic in the inner city, in the high rise. It's a working elevator, metal materials up to the top. Thank you. Continuing with Dave Rorio on our progress on the STEM project. So Dave, pretty much the main entrance on the west side of the building we're standing in right here?
Yes, correct. This is going to be the main entrance to the building. What you see here with all the activity is going to be a nice terrace, basically a circle for everybody to come in. This is the main entrance. Like I said, this will get us into the main lobby area, the main elevator banks. First floor is predominantly administrative offices, and then also the integrative learning zone.
Yeah.
We have here. It's called the I zone. That's more on the north end of the building.
So the feature lobby area, basically, that we're going to be in right here. Dave, take me outside just for a short. This is a little bit of a canopy that they're building over the storefront here.
Yep. The building has a canopy roof system. It'll also have these decorative, we call them eyebrows, just more of an architectural feature to add some to the building.
So when I was noticing, this is really the only structural steel in the building is in the basement, first floor to the second floor. Really?
The building is mostly block and plank, CMU and concrete plank. There is some structural steel more in the knuckle area and the elevator ways. You can see some structural steel, all with fire spray proofing on them now.
Yep. So the feature section of the building, this will be all glass.
Yes.
In this area in here, glass storefronts over that way. So really under heavy construction right here. I don't even want to really walk too much further. I see there's a ton of lifts here. And any cranes on site now? A lot of man lifts, more or less?
All man lifts now. The cranes are gone. The roofs are done.
So you have a temporary elevator set up on the outside of the building,
Yep.
hauling men and materials.
Material and man lift.
Nice. Taking us over to the mock-up that we were just talking about some of the stuff here on the building. As you mentioned, the metal panels, the areas on the building that you don't see covered in brick. As I spin back up, will be all the metal cladding that's yet to come.
Yep, it gives us another opportunity while the building was being built to review any of the details prior to them going onto the building. There are some deficiencies that we caught. Talks about some architectural features, some of the gaps, some of the fit and finish, but we were able to review them at this time, and it was being able to change that and put them onto the building.
Right, because one of the big things, Dave, in the new modern day metal panel cladding is the reveals, as you talked about. The size, how that they line up. Each one of the panels is individual that we're looking at, more or less.
Yeah, the architect was very concerned about that fit and finish and the aesthetics of the panel. So, like I said, it gave him an opportunity to confirm the installation was correct, the gaps, any caulk joints that were going to be done.
So as you look up into the soffit, that's really what we're talking about.
That's
the
the
lineup
eyebrow.
with the gaps. That's the eyebrow we were looking, actually the detail we were just looking at up above with the wood on here. And different colors of the brick and the mortar, right, included in the mock-up.
Flashings, weep holes, just the craftsmanship of the masonry, making sure that it was correct. At different stages, we reviewed the waterproofing membrane, making sure that the membrane was installed correctly.
Yeah. So as a mock-up, this is the place where you can always come back and reference the work. So if there's ever a question later on the workmanship, on the tooling of the joints, or anything to that nature.
The baseline of quality too. Like this is something to always come back to reflect.
Yeah. So Dave, we're at second floor, and we're going to go into the mock-up on the next caption over here. This is for the progress of the construction. The framing is complete. Drywall's on the floor. The rough-in, pretty good shape.
Yep, everything's roughed in. Everything's been inspected. All the mechanicals. So yeah, they're ready to start drywall in here.
Perfect. So Dave, this is you're in the process of completing your mock-up. Is this for what they call a double dorm room?
Yep, this is a typical two-person residence room. We put this on the second floor as a in-place mock-up, and we were able to review the stages of the room as it was being built, so we could look at any issues or concerns that any of the architects, engineers had. So this pretty much represents a finished room besides the furniture.
Yeah. So pretty nice. It's a vinyl plank flooring, very durable.
Yep.
Yeah, and looks sharp. And I noticed the base is a little different too. So I think I've never seen 2.5 inch, a low profile base there.
That's a perfect example of having the mock-up room because we ended up going with a typical 4-inch base. After the architect saw the 2.5 inch base, they didn't like that.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect opportunity to point that out now before we put it in 350 bedrooms.
Nice.
So these are a perfect example of things that were caught during the mock-up and will be replaced.
So as you said, Dave, on the plank job, it's a masonry plank that supports from one side to the next, and then the ceiling gets sprayed. Yep. And the finish is it.
Yep. Textured finish, and there's you can see there's an overhead valance heating unit, combination heating, cooling unit, and that'll be the primary source of heating and cooling for the room.
Nice, totally different from the old style ways when it used to be the radiant heat on the floor. These are up in the air, the heat works its way down radiant wise, and it doesn't get beat up with the foot traffic as life goes on. I see the outlets are a little bit lower than typical heights too.
The reason why that's the case is because there's a new building code, Connecticut building code, where any electrical outlet that's obstructed by furniture has to get a special cover over it, which takes up approximately 3 inches. So we lowered them to the lowest point to make sure that the bed wouldn't be covering that receptacle.
Nice. Another advantage of working through a mock-up to work out all your details. Well, thanks, Dave. Looks great. On the second floor, explain to me a little bit what you were just mentioning about the A-wing.
Yeah, in a typical building like this, we thought we were going to work per floor. We're going to frame each floor, sheetrock each floor. But what happened is we started working the whole building in a counterclockwise rotation. The block and plank was built on a counterclockwise. The roofs were put in on a counterclockwise. So the drywallers were doing the same thing. They were sheetrocking in a counterclockwise rotation just to be able to make sure we were weather tight. So this represents the A wing, which we call that, and it's drywalled and it's ready to be taped.
That's right, so we're still on the floor. This is this IZOD room that we were just mentioning.
Yep, this is the I-zone. It's going to be a nice area, have kind of atrium window type feature to it, open ceilings, more kind of industrial. It'll have workbenches and overhead power available for the students to work with.
Really a tall bay, Dave, huh?
Yes.
Nice, so, yeah. So there'll be some natural light up and high in through here. Nice, so much early stages of construction. This will probably be one of the later rooms to be finished, I'm sure.
Yeah, just like anything, they're trying to stay away from the ground floors. That's where the in and out of the building is, a lot of material coming in and out. Yeah. So the finishes will be done later on.
Late spring.
Late spring, but before you know it, they'll need to be finished. So July 19th comes pretty quick.
It does.